The sparkles.
Oh, were they there and I didn't even see it? Okay. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2026. Welcome back to Recoup. I'm Sweets. This is Sid. This is our Friday weekly check-in where we recap what we have delivered this week and talk about what we're going to be working on next week. To kick it off how we always do, in one word, how you feeling today? And in one sentence, what do you need today?
I'm overwhelmed. I need some good juju, Sweets.
Overwhelmed and needing good juju.
How about you?
Writing your stuff down. Overwhelmed. Good juju. I'm also feeling overwhelmed.
Nice. Twinsies.
Yeah. And I need feedback on all the directions that we're going. So I just need. I feel like I'm merging a lot of stuff, and I just want your opinions on. Do I keep going? Give me feedback if I need to change it. But there's the three big things are Pulse, X402, and Sandboxes. All three of those have things that I think I would like your feedback on. Are out of those three, any one you'd like to start with and take a look at?
Let's start with X402 since I know I told you I would get to it and then I never got to it.
Would you mind sharing screen and opening up that link that I sent you and just try to go through a normal chat and tell me, yeah, at that link, go through a normal chat and just say if it feels like a degraded chat experience or if the chat still feels the same.
What would be different when you say degraded? Missing tools, slower, all of the
It
above?
might be slower because we're now proxying. The difference is instead of just directly using API keys and replying, we are now using API keys and then forwarding to X402. So one extra transaction, one extra API request happening.
Oh, streaming, that's crazy there.
Weird from the left or from the
Yeah.
right side was weird.
A little slower. Usually it doesn't. Oh,
Can you expand that and show me what it is?
I can.
The request model. Can you close this big thing that's taking up the bottom? X402 version 1, bad request, accepts a scheme, description, yada yada. Okay. So it looks like something is going on with the X402 request. Your feedback was it's slower and it is throwing that error.
When I say slower, it's hard to actually say if it's slower on the first token, or time to first token.
Yeah, on the very first one, it might be slower, especially because we're testing on test branches right now. Can you close this and open up the tab again? Or because I'm giving you a special link. Can you close this tab and then open it again from Slack and try it one more time?
Yeah. Like time to first token usually takes a minute, so like it's hard to judge if that was longer than usual, but we can judge this. which usually takes it's hard to justify. So I don't know.
But we are getting text formatted on the wrong side now, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay. I won't merge this then. I would like X402 in chat because that's the API endpoint that gets hit all the time, and I think that would just bump us up in the leaderboard of X402, having every time a chat message is sent, we're sending those X402 funds. But it's more of a visual thing than improving the end customer experience right now. So I'll keep that on the back burner. Out of the other two, Sandbox and Pulse, which one would you prefer to take a look at?
Whichever you want, whichever you need more, whatever you need more time on. If we go down a road,
let's look at Pulse next. So I'll start by sharing, and then we'll take a look to see if you. I have a feeling I'm the only one opted in right now, so I'll share to show that. So
cool.
To do that, we go to trigger.dev. And we should have a schedule in prod. Schedule of the send pulse tasks. This was last run. 9 a.m. Do we have a date? January 30th at 9 a.m. So today at 9 a.m. Eastern time it ran. And it runs, oh yeah, there it is. January 30th, 9 a.m. We've now changed it from 4 a.m. Eastern time to 9 a.m. Eastern time. We're focusing on Eastern time right now. And let's see how many people are opted into Pulse. Still just me. So I'll check my email. What has been updated since the last time we tested Pulse? Last time it was sending hello world at 4 a.m. We now have added in the ability for, well, let's just look at the email and work backwards from there. Agent by Recoup. Is it? Did it not do the deploy? GitHub. Global.com, Recoup tasks. No, it looks like it deployed. What's in the email? Oh, there it is. 9 a.m. Top 3 conversations to follow up on in the past 7 days. Actions to build momentum. Quick list. Here's 3 conversations from the past 7 days you should follow up on. Active artist overview link gives me a link to the chat. And then it says what my action item is. Upload the latest streaming and merch snapshot into the thread and ask the team to confirm target territories if no objections. Schedule a 30-minute sync today to cover it. Communication brief link, and then a Google Doc integration. So it's pulling my chats now. It's including the chats in there, and it's getting summaries. And then the Pulse is now actually pulling from my conversations. I can click on one of these. It takes me right into the Recoup chat so that I can see the conversation verified and follow up on a specific thread if I want. And this was me testing the tools.
Is it correct?
So active artist overview, priority update the latest streaming merch snapshot. I searched your Google Drive, found no matching sheets, pick which one you want to run. Public streaming data. Yeah, it's more or less accurate. I mean, it is pulling the info. How well it's summarizing it, there's a couple different layers where it's probably not pulling the right things. So, but it is pulling info from the emails. So what is happening here is we have Pulse now has 2 new tools. One tool, and I'll show them both here, Get My Chats. So one tool is Get Chats. It's already been at the API level. It's how we're registering recent chats, but we have not had it available at the tool level. The first one will likely be a failed call because it's trying to throw in our system prompt, we're hard coding that there's a organization in there. And then the second time, because of the feedback, it knows, okay, don't use org. And now it's getting my actual chats. And then I can say, compact my latest 3 conversations. Or I could do all of them, which is what Pulse does. Pulse compacts all of them, but I just want to get, I just want to show you the 2 tools. So this is one, give me my chats. I get all of my chats. And then I can, if I click on any of them, it opens up a new tab with that chat. So the same thing as what the recent chats does on the left, but this is a tool call which injects that context into the LLM conversation. Second one is compact. I took the term compact from using Claude Code. Claude compacts the stuff automatically, my conversations. And I wanted it so that we can pass in a conversation and then compact the conversation before sending it to Pulse. That way we're not analyzing the full conversations of 1,000 conversations, but instead we're compacting all those 1,000 conversations and then sending the summary of all those conversations to Pulse to be able to iterate over. And so now it's going to go and compact those conversations. So Pulse now, I'll show you what that prompt is. The prompt currently is, and I sent this to you for review my conversations from the past 7 days. Send me a concise email with the 3 most important conversations I should follow up on, including the full chat link, giving an example of what the chat link should look like so I can pick up where I left off. 2, a quick prioritized action for each. To help me build momentum this morning, keep it grounded in the actual conversation, no fluff. That's the Pulse right now. That's what Pulse does. Anybody who's opted in, right now just me, it iterates over each of them and then runs that prompt, and that prompt ends with send me an email with the info. That's Pulse so far. The question I have for you is, why aren't you opted in to Pulse? So that way you can be getting these emails and have more actionable feedback on how Pulse is working.
I can opt in whenever you need.
Could you opt in now so that way I can run this right now and you can tell me how Pulse feels for you?
Yes. How do I opt in?
Do you want to share screen and we can do the demo live?
Is it
if
on
I didn't tell you, what would be your how if you told Alexis to opt into Pulse or told someone, what do you think how do you think they would try?
Well, because I know you, I'm probably gonna talk on the chat, but I would go here if I was a user. But yeah, let me just ask. Cool.
That's weird. So prod is even moving it from the right for you. It's not just the X402 that's doing it from that side. It's prod as well.
Oh yeah, interesting.
So it says active at the end, but I'm seeing the UI showing inactive. Can you click the word Pulse in the UI component? So that takes you to the Pulse tab, which is another place where you can do it. And it's still showing loading up top for your Pulse status, which is weird. And it's showing inactive. Can you flag it to true? So it says Pulse activated, but it's still hanging there. Okay, it's not actually doing it. Can you F12 so I can see what's going on in the network and then try the toggle again? And what's the error we're getting? Forbidden. Okay, so Sid's not allowed to call it. Check responser. I want to see what is actually coming back. Personal API keys cannot filter by account ID. So it's assuming you're in an org, but you don't have an org active right now, or you do?
I do.
Can you go to your personal account? Interesting. And okay, now it shows that you're active. Interesting. Okay, so I need to fix Pulse so that it's always doing it in the personal context. But your Pulse is now active. So now I'm gonna run it on my side, but we'll still have you share so that you can show us what your
But will it be
Pulse.
only for these recent chats?
Will it only be for these recent chats? It's gonna pull from your recent chats across all of your artists.
In all of org as well?
In all of Sydney's account. So across Sid's organizations, because Sid has multiple orgs.
Okay, got it. So not like all of these artists are just in my personal, but it will also pull in all of my orgs as well, you're saying?
It might not be pulling in org artists or org artist conversations. It might not be.
All right, well, let's run it and then let's see. I mean, it's gonna be hard to see, but
It is in process running right now. I'm gonna close Slack so that I don't get those pings. Pulse has been running for a minute.
talk about compaction real quick. Right now, how did you build the compaction? Is it something that is like specifically for the use case of Pulse in how you're doing it, or is it something that we could also use for chats when they all hit context windows and shit?
You could use it in that secondary case. So far, I have not built the UI to update like Claude's does, but you absolutely can. I'm
Yeah, like
going to
the
take
same.
over the screen sharing so that I can show you what it's looking like. Can
Cool.
you see my screen?
Yeah.
So if you go into the docs at developers.recoupable.com, you'll see the compact endpoint. All of our tools, we start with the API endpoint and then build the tool based off of the endpoint. So inside of chat up top, you've got compact chats. With compact chats, you can compact one or more conversations into summarized versions. This reduces the size of the chat history while preserving key information. You can optionally provide a prompt to control what information gets preserved about the compacted chat. So you pass in an array of chats that you want to compact and optionally a prompt that you want to compact it over. So if you try it, you just pass in your chat IDs, an array of chat IDs that you want, and then a prompt like how many assistant messages are in each chat and something like that. And or if you leave it out, we do our generic. So now what actually happens behind the scenes, we go into the mono repo. And inside of the API for API chats compact, the compact endpoint validates the parameters, and then it runs the compaction in parallel across all of them. And so for each compaction, we then check if the person has access to the room, and then we compact the chat, which selects all the memories from the chat, and then it maps over those to format them. Then we have a new agent called a compact agent. The compact agent is a tool loop agent, uses the lightweight model, and it has default instructions unless you pass in a prompt. If you pass in a prompt, it will know. Prompt happens down there. So right now, this is actually, we could delete the custom instructions because no, the custom prompt is being used in the system message. So the custom prompt is being passed in. So if you tell it what the prompt that I was just passing in, that would override these default instructions. The default instructions are your conversation summarizer, create a concise summary of the conversation that preserves the key info, maintains the essential context, is significantly shorter, uses clear professional language, respond only with summary text, no additional commentary.
Fire. I love this. I love this so much. What's our lightweight model? Is it 4.0?
Our lightweight model is 4.0 mini.
Maybe we should update that.
I agree.
Cool. That's like a simple thing.
It's a very simple thing for us to send a cloud code.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question about what does compact do?
Yeah, dude. And I love how you built it because it's so module. It's just a great tool in the harness that we are building. A necessary tool.
Did you get the email from Pulse?
Yes, I did.
Do you mind sharing so we can review it together?
Yeah. First, I'm going to share with you my Pokey update from SMS that I got, telling me that I got the email.
So Pokey told you first.
Yep, I got a text from Pokey, and it said,
Recoup agent flagged 3 decisions needed today, and it gives you the links to the chats. Summarize
this is the links to the. It's not look view link. Oh, it is the links to the chat. Yeah,
takes you right into Recoup. Nice.
Yeah, and then main thread goes to them. It also flagged at 11:17 that Vercel hit us up and said gateway credits are out.
We're out of gateway credits today. That might be why. Well, no, I don't think that was why the other one.
I think is at 11:17. It might have just happened and prep be filled. All right, but let me pull up the email. This is great.
We can see your screen.
Cool. It's hard to understand if the agent. Okay, well, first of all, it is pulling org artists, because this is an org artist combo.
Awesome.
The second thing is I guess for both me and you, it's going to be hard with this specific prompt for Pulse to understand if it's valuable, because the majority of my conversations are like test combos, or like me saying like
just combos. Right.
Yeah. Right. So like, but I think it's a good first step, and I think Pulse is working in the sense of like it's able to do something proactively.
And you'll get that now. Right now we're running Pulse every day at 9 a.m. Monday to Sunday. So tomorrow morning you will get another Pulse with similar.
And now the main most important question is what information can Pulse give the user to be the most valuable thing that they wake up to and create a habit.
Yep. I think it's Gmail integration.
All right, but like, so this is the thing with Gmail integration. Like I said previously, like I have Gmail integration. I can go connect it. Well, first I'm going to add that Composio tool, but like once we do that, we can connect Gmail. Yep. We can also connect Google Docs and all that shit as well. Like, but like, it's just going to be about the agent understanding what is relevant and what's not. The main question is like, do we build it? Do we build it with the reliance on the Gmail connection in order for it to be awesome? Or do we build it and make it as awesome as we can without the connections, so that if Gmail does get connected, we could make it even more awesome? But like, my big worry is if you're not building it and if you're not connected to Gmail, like does it become an obsolete tool? But like, what would be more valuable engineering time? Figuring out how to context engineer a connected Gmail account for Pulse updates? Or will it be context engineering other information besides recent chats that we can give the user?
My personal MIQ is what is stopping us from telling everyone we know to subscribe? How do I increase the number of opt-ins to Pulse? It's the KPI I want to increase. Looking at my results and your results, neither of us took a result and said, look at how good this is. And we're already integrating tools. My first thought was to integrate more tools, but if we're already pulling in all the conversations and all the chat, and neither of us feels like this is something we want to share, maybe we should spend more time getting the existing tools correct for summarizing chats.
But my question is, when you say existing tools for summarizing, wait, dive in a little bit more of when you say the existing tools for Pulse, like the ability, like right now that you're saying that the Pulse tool has one tool, which is summarize chats.
Their prompt, right? Yeah. So there's the prompt and there's the compact tools. The two things that I'm thinking could be tweaked right now without adding more tools are the prompt itself, which is what I shared you in trigger.dev. It's look at my emails, give me something to start my morning. We could change that. We can also change the compact tool and how the compact tool is doing the default compactions. Do you have a conversation that you would have loved it to pull? Do you have an example conversation you think it should have pulled if it was a helpful assistant that was actually sending you a pulse of your most important conversations? If you don't have that as the founder of the company, why would someone else?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think I have that. I think I have more important tasks set up, which are recent conversations, but I think of them more as tasks. So like,
so are you saying that tasks are more important for a pulse than conversations?
No, conversations are tasks though, right? Like at the end of the day, currently
tasks
a task
create conversations, but they are two different entities.
Yeah. I guess the question, or I'm trying to figure out what the value is. Is it like telling me what my most important conversations are, or is it telling me like what needs to be done still? Like what it analyzes my conversation, and then from that infers. It's less about the conversation and more about like either like I've proactively done this thing for you instead of I'm directing you back to a conversation, that where then you need to have another chat with it and continue what you're doing. Like, I also think maybe we can go back to the transcript that we had with Alexis, where she literally laid out exactly what would be valuable to her, which was also like industry news, like TikTok news, Billboard news, like things like that like she wanted like to curate. So my main question is, do you want to keep is there a way to should we keep iterating on the prompt and the tools of Pulse at all? Or should we ask the customer? I feel like we haven't addressed the customer's initial thoughts about what would be valuable to her with Pulse. And once we do that, then we can get the customer involved. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think it's time to get the customer involved because neither of us are impressed with the feature. If we aren't impressed, why would our customer be impressed?
Agreed.
From what I heard of the customer, they want social media updates from news feeds that we don't currently have access to, and email summaries, which requires Gmail access. There's something else that they requested that I'm missing there.
No, but like there's something about like we're currently getting context from chats, and we're saying summarize this and these chats, and then like tell me the top 3 conversations to go to. Like I wonder if it's a prompting thing, and I wonder if maybe we add a tool of like get artist. Maybe we already have, or no, we don't have. But get artist knowledge base, get artist file, like get more information on the artist and the campaign. Like, how do we provide more information to the LLM about each artist? And then the prompt is more like, based on what you know and my recent chats about what I'm doing, do a research thing for me. Do a draft content for me. Like do just proactive things, but based on what you know about what I'm doing. Like let the LLM decide. What do I like? I guess my thought is like a lot of the customers. What I'm realizing is like they don't know what they don't know. Like they need to be handed the prompting and the easy button clicks and shit like that. Like, so I guess, okay, so that's the main question then. If we're going back to like, does the agent have enough context on the customer's priorities based on just recent chats? Or is there anything else we can get?
Yeah, that sounds fair. I'm still not confident on what next steps are for Pulse. What we actively want to change, we could leave it up in the air, but currently I don't know what the action item is to make updates on Pulse to move forward and do another iteration. We've delivered, it is reading from the recent chats. That is going to get delivered to you every day at 9 a.m. The question I have is what needs to change for me to do another iteration on making this better.
What else can, besides recent chats, what other context can we give?
Any tool that exists in Recoup.
So it just becomes a prompting exercise of Pulse is running, it's pulling recent chats, and we can also tell it to do other things. And what
Correct.
do we tell it in order to get delivered the email?
Correct.
The difference between, I'm just talking this out loud, what can Pulse do that tasks currently cannot do is deliver information across all more artists than the selected artist.
I am getting AI gateways out of credit, so I'll stop trying to make progress on my code.
Oh, let me update it. We just have to just like reset it.
If I know this might be tied to other stuff, so if now is not a time to update it, don't worry.
No, we should re-update it so that we're not blocked. All right, well, let's. Do you want to continue? Do you want to put a pin in Pulse and share the other stuff, or do you want to continue to talk through and figure out what next steps with Pulse is?
Yeah, I think that's best. So Pulse, no action items right now. I would love for you to review the thread of all the prompts that I've sent you around Pulse, because it sounds like you are in agreement with me that the prompt is what needs updated. So I've already sent you the prompt multiple times. Please, whenever you get the chance, review that and think over how you would like that to be improved to match what you want in our customers' inboxes every day, so we can start telling them to get their teams to opt in. on the sandbox side. We have just updated, so starting from the API level, if you go sandbox is plural. Can you see my screen?
Wait, you just got off. Say again.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're back.
Sandboxes has been updated to be plural. Here you can see the outdated version where it's sandbox and sandbox. I have updated the endpoint to now be API sandboxes. You can see that this no longer works because it's now sandboxes. Other than that, prompt has now been added. The prompt is sent to Claude Code in the sandbox. This prompt will be executed in an isolated Linux micro VM with Claude Code CLI and the Anthropic SDK. An example prompt is create a new text document copied from our master marketing document for a new campaign for Excelencia. I thought of this from our enterprise customer saying that they have a master document and they might want to copy it. And so Claude Code, that's a very easy task for Claude Code to do. Claude Code has its own file system. You and I do tasks like that all the time, but inside of Recoup Chat, they don't have a good file system, and music industry professionals are not used to going to Claude Code. So this is a new unlock that music industry professionals will get by building on top of Recoup. So if I want to hit this, I should have it open over here. And I think I just need to change this to sandboxes. And so I sent a prompt like, what files do you see? I just made some changes to this API and I've not tested it since I made the changes. So we'll see if it works. Let me go back to deployments. Okay. So we can see here is Claude Code did end up running. It opened up a sandbox, and then inside of that sandbox, it then replied saying the current directory contains node modules, package lock, package JSON, and then I also have added in the Ralph script, which is what's getting run when we pass in the prompt. So to take you one level deeper into what's happening, I'll show you what happens when you create a sandbox. You go into API, sandboxes, and then we've got our route with a post in it. We verify, and then we create a sandbox with the validated prompt. We create a sandbox with these information. We give them 4 CPUs. We give it a lifespan of 10 minutes, and we give it node 22 as the environment. We then install Claude Code. We install the Anthropic AI SDK. After that, we then we create a Ralph script inside of that sandbox. And that Ralph script is just the same thing as what my Ralph script is. Claude, permission, edit, give it model opus, and then we pass in whatever prompt the customer gives. In this case, I just said, what files do you see? But you could do anything with Claude Code here. You could say, build me a Next.js app for my next marketing release or whatever you want to say. It then runs that command and it passes in our Anthropic API key. So something to think through right now is I created a new API key for the sandbox. It's called Vercel Recoup API. And so right now we are going to hit the same problem that I hit in the past month where we are directly using Opus credits. One of the things I want to figure out is how do I log in with my own personal account in these sandboxes? That way we can leverage the Claude Max plan that we already have and not directly rack up a bunch of API credit charges. Another thing I would like to figure out is how do I save this instance? We've installed Claude Code. We've created the Ralph loop. I want to save that. It's already pretty fast. Like the total time for that run was 15 seconds, which isn't a long time. But if we save this instance, then we can skip things like installing Claude and installing Anthropic if we've already installed those in an instance, and then we can have a base instance that gets spun up for people. But then we run the Ralph loop. Any prompts you want me to try just to highlight that we now have sandboxes that spin up Claude Code and can run Claude Code prompts?
What can you do?
What can you do? Send this. So this is, again, another environment that we have. And before we would send what can you do to our own model, to our own API. And now we are sending it to Claude Code running in Opus 4.5, adds the packages, sets up its sandbox. We have already gotten a response over here. Hi, I'm a software engineering assistant that helps with coding tasks. Here's what I can do: code in files, read and write, edit files in your project. This is really important because our current Recoup chat does not do that, or if it does, we built it ourselves and it's not good. We can search code bases, explore and understand project structure, development tasks, terminal operations is another thing that's net new for us here. Running all those shell commands. I can run Git operations, package managers, research and web, GitHub integrations, and planning. And then to get started, describe what you'd like to accomplish or point me to code you'd like help with.
Are we sending the Recoup system prompt with this?
No. No,
So
I just showed you all the code that exists. We're opening up Claude, same as you opening up Claude, and then passing in whatever prompt we send in. That's what I was able to get done this morning.
What are you thinking next steps for this are for the customer?
I'm thinking the next step is making a new page on Recoup /sandboxes and give Sid a prompt field and a button. That way Sid can do this from a UI and he doesn't have to do it inside of Postman or inside of our developers. And then showing you the history of your sandboxes so that way you can click through them, and that gives us associating a sandbox with an account, showing someone the history of their sandboxes based off of an account, being able to show all of the sandboxes grouped inside of an org, more still laying down the framework for grouping things and organizing them. So that way Sid can see them and Sid can give me more concrete, hey, I opened up a sandbox with this, but it didn't remember the last sandbox that I had. And you can start to give me more concrete feedback based off of the actual sandboxes that you're opening. The state I want to get to right now, Sweets is the only person that's spun up a sandbox. I want to get it to Sid is spinning up sandboxes. That's the next step I want to get to, is same with Pulse. Started with just me getting pulses. Now Sid's getting a pulse. Now ball's in Sid's court. How do we update the prompt? That is an unresolved answer. On the sandbox side, I'm spinning up sandboxes. Next step is get it into a place where Sid can spin up sandboxes. And I think that looks like it'll be chat.recoupable.com /sandboxes. You go there, you have a prompt field and a send button. You can type whatever you want. You click it, and then you can watch that sandbox run in real time. When the sandbox dies, you then see it in your history of all of the sandboxes that you've made. And then I think that gives you the chance to run these prompts and then tell me, how do we inject our system prompts? How do I make my own? And then I think that also might tie into the pulses of when you create a new code base, the first thing you do is init, and then it creates a claude.md file with everything it knows about your code base. We create something like that for either the org or the artist, and then system prompt or Pulse can then read from those files. And the file system that we're building in our sandbox can then be the core source of truth for how Pulse gets run. And the sandbox then becomes that work environment for Sid saying, I want it to do tasks on behalf of the record label for them. The sandbox is where it's going to do all those tasks, creating files, editing files, pushing them to Git, generating images, can do all that in an isolated, untrusted environment that then feeds back into Pulse for its claude.md file, our proprietary version of that. So again, TLDR, next step, /sandboxes on chat.recoupable.com so that Sid has a button he can click to spin up sandboxes so that Sid can give me more concrete feedback on how he wants his own sandboxes to change. Thoughts on that next step?
I'm cool on the next step. Questions around when do you see when do you see the value of the chat endpoint versus the value of the sandbox endpoint?
It's a great question. That's a really great question. It's a really great question. I've been thinking about that as well. Like, why not just move everything into a sandbox? Why not have our main chat in the sandbox? First is response time. Spinning up, just like you noticed at NX402, it slows it down a little bit because we're now querying with the new thing. Spinning up a sandbox is an additional step that needs to happen before we get our first token back. So if we are spinning up a sandbox every time, we have to wait for that. If we want streaming to be a thing, I personally don't think our web chat should be the preferred endpoint. I think emails and pushing the client elsewhere is better. So if we don't need streaming, Sandbox could totally fully replace it. if we want streaming to happen, streaming is going to be hard inside of a sandbox because we have to get it from the sandbox into our API, into the UI. So it's a bunch of proxies. But again, I would prefer to get away from streaming over time, away from us expecting this real-time response, and more text messaging, Telegram messaging, email messaging, where we do generate, and people are more okay with it taking a couple minutes to think and to not see that stream feedback in real time. So streaming, I think, is the reason we wouldn't use a sandbox. I think streaming is the biggest reason we would not use a sandbox. Other than that, that's the biggest limiting thing I think I have found I'm coming to mind right now for sandbox. Do you have any other thoughts on why we wouldn't use sandbox in Claude Code and why we would use our current chat interface?
Yeah, I agree. Streaming. I'm trying to think if there's anything like tasks. Can Claude Code do tasks based on what we have already built?
Yep, I think that fits into the same mental model I just said. Tasks use our generate endpoint. We could totally replace our generate endpoint to always go to sandbox and to execute the prompt in the sandbox instead of in our normal Recoup chat. And then the question just becomes, how do we bring all the Recoup tools that we built into Claude Code? And do we need to bring the tools that we built in Recoup into the Claude Code? A very small thing I've been thinking about is spinning up a CLI for Recoup. Peter, the guy that wrote ClaudeBot, says he always starts with building a CLI. He's like, CLIs are just better. Like, why build MCP? It's this whole new stack. Everybody knows how to use Bash. And if we're using Claude Code uses Bash. And so instead of us needing to support all these tools and APIs and MCPs, if we just have Recoup CLI that does all the same thing as our API, Claude Code knows how to use Bash and knows how to use a CLI. And so instead of building out all these tools, just give Claude our Bash, our CLI, and then it has access to all the Recoup tools, but he accesses it via CLI instead of us maintaining the tools.
Understood. The currently it's only Claude Code though, right? So like, I guess you could set up the AI gateway.
It's currently Claude Code only, correct?
Yeah. So like price would be the other initial thing I'm thinking of.
Which is like, that's why I want to figure out how I can log into my subscription account. That way we take advantage of the max we're paying for.
I think this all Pulse and sandbox with the vision of what you're saying, which I agree with, is like eventually we don't want streaming. Eventually I just want to be able to text the agent. But in order for me to do that, especially with work and my job on the line, I need to be able to trust that the agent will do what I say it's going to do. Streaming helps me see and have a little bit more trust and stop things when it's happening, and just more human in the loop. It makes me feel like I'm just saying from a customer's perspective, like if I'm not used to Claude Code or all of this, there's like something about me being able to like monitor what's going on and direct. But I agree that everything's moving towards the other way. This whole thing, man, comes down to context engineering. Like, we could have all these cool ass tools in the world. If we are not organizing the customer's important information into the context window correctly, none of this matters. The Pulse doesn't matter. The sandbox doesn't matter. And so I think like next step with sandbox, you are correct. Get me using it. And then I think just like from our current customer's perspective, how are we, or like you said, like how do we need to organize their files and folders and system across their roster, across their finances, across everything in a way that is private and secure per user, and in a way that makes it really easy for the agent when the user asks for anything, or when the agent decides to be proactive and be like, hey, I just realized, I'll give you a good example because I got one today. So I have release reports set up for a demo customer, and I'm going to show you what I got because some of them suck and some of them are great. So you see I got all of these at 4 a.m. By the way, our time zones with tasks are broken because I set these to be 9 a.m. and they're 4 a.m. So I think time zones are
UTC time. Yep, that's 9 a.m. UTC.
Yeah. So I think that's also happening to all customers is like they're setting it to 9 and it's coming in at 4, or know, if they're in PST, they're coming in earlier. So just a little bug flag. But anyways, okay. So I have these quick performance and insight reports set up weekly for these 4 artists, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first one I got was Lansdowne, and I clicked it, and it sends me this beautiful fucking email. I love it. I looped in the demo customers that they have it, and if you can see, it says what's live. New single release me just dropped on January 9th. And so it's given me some signals and wins. So this is kind of what I imagine Pulse to be, right? Like, cool. January 30th update, it pulled like a recent single. It's saying opportunities. Like, this is kind of dope, right? But it's just based on this artist. It's not based on multiple artists, right? Which would be like the other variation of Pulse. But like, and it says like quick wins this week, 1 social cut, right? And I guess like the next step of Pulse would be like, don't just tell me the quick wins, just like go do the quick wins. Like pitch 8 curated rock stars. Tell me, all right, I just ran this agent and now I'm going to do it. Now, Lansdowne was a good one. When I got it, I got the email and I was like, dope, because it started with like this recent release. But when I started to look at the other ones, this one was great as well. January 2026 video and rollout. Spotify just had a single release on the 28th, like 2 days ago, like current, up to date. Now, the issue that I started to run into is, I have a weekly setup for this guy, Uncle Lucius, but the last release was like November 2025. So like this weekly report on this artist isn't really smart anymore. It's just telling me like old news. So like it becomes more noise than signal. Same thing with this one. August 2024, it's giving me about singles and shit. Like, and so like really it comes down to like, does the agent know what is priority to the user today? Does the agent know what is happening and is relevant today? Or is it pulling in unnecessary old news that is just filling up noise and tokens? And how the more we can context engineer so the agent know what is relevant information for the user around their roster, the more we win.
What I've written down is action items around Sandbox. It sounds like Sandbox will be my focus for next week. Pulse is on pause until I get actionable feedback on how to improve Pulse to make it whatever the goal is for our customers. Sandbox, the overarching goal is a persistent file system. My medium-term goal is get rid of the file system that we built and replace it with Sandbox file systems. So that means we have a Sandbox page that Sid can go to where he can create sandboxes, and he can also see all the sandboxes that he's created. Get Claude Max in there so that we're not using our own API keys for Claude code, so that way we can keep this financially sustainable. And then 3, do account snapshots. Each time you spin up that sandbox, it should take a snapshot of the end state, save that into Supabase, so that when you send your next prompt, it's spinning up it's continuing on the same file system that you already had. If you had just told it to remember this piece of information about you and it saved it to the claude.md file, when you send the next prompt, it should still remember that. If we tell it to update a progress file every time it spins up a sandbox before the sandbox spins down, when the next sandbox spins up, it should be able to look at that progress doc and know the last things that it did, so that if we're using it for tasks or for Pulse, it can review that progress doc and know exactly what it literally just worked on, and the timestamps it did it.
It's the beginning of a memory system.
It's the beginning of a persistent file system, which is the memory system. Yeah, everybody gets their own memory system, and we can spin up infinite amounts of those in whatever context we want. If we want it on an artist level, an account level, an org level.
And then you had mentioned, I know it's 1 minute and I have another meeting, so like I'll just wrap up with it. You had mentioned GitHub file systems per org.
I was leaning towards that. I think Sandbox will remove the need for us to use Git, and I think just persist it inside a VM temporarily. And then how that gets persisted is the snapshot of the instance, which should be able to be used to recreate. I need to research that. That's what I'm going to do next week to figure out. I'm thinking we don't need Git.
Your reason for Git was backups. If it does something wrong.
Yep.
How do you back up?
But if we have snapshots, we could do the same thing.
True. All right, cool. Sounds good.
Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week.